Just set up. Okay. This is Janine Johnson, Chairperson for the Employee Insurance Trust. Today is April 20th, 2021. This meeting is conducted under Governor Lee's Executive Order number 78, issued February 26th, 2021, set to expire April 28th, 2021. Given the state of emergency that has been issued by the federal, state, and local governments due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the trust determines that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of its members, as well as the citizens of Clarksville-Montgomery County, Tennessee. As a reminder, all votes by roll call, please voice yes or no by each trust member. Voice votes together is not acceptable, nor is showing of hands. Audio video recording of the meeting will be posted on our website by Friday, February 23rd. So I'm going to go ahead and complete a roll call to confirm that we do have a quorum. Marcia Demarest, she's not present. Mark Banaszak.
Present.
Okay. Amanda Beck. Not present. Tommy Butler.
Present.
Charlie Hall. Charlie, could I get that? I couldn't hear you.
Present, I'm here.
Thank you. Leslie Helmig.
Present.
Donna Mahoney.
I'm here.
Thank you. Jeffrey Taylor. Kimberly Yarborough. Do I have Kimberly? Kelly Jackson.
Present.
Thank you. John Smith. Ed Long.
Present.
Thank you, Ed. Michael Johnson.
Present.
Kay Rye.
Present.
Mary Thomas. And myself makes 10. And how many do we need, Donna? 12?
11.
11. Okay, let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are short 1. Kelly, do you know how long that meeting was scheduled to last by any chance?
I do not, but I'll text John right quick.
Okay, let's just see if we can. If they
Janine, this is Pam.
Yes.
Michelle thought she would be down here pretty quick.
Okay.
So she said she might just be a little bit late. She was going to try
Okay.
to go first, and
Mhm.
Jeff told her he didn't think it was going to last all that long.
Okay, so if you all
Hopefully.
don't mind, we do have a board meeting tonight at 6, so I need to be done by 5:45 to get ready for the board meeting. But if we just have a couple minutes, we can
Yeah, let me.
officially start the meeting. I also do want to thank and congratulate Ed Long. He is retiring this year. So Ed is a Latin teacher. Is that right, Ed? Yes.
That is correct, for about 32 years now.
Okay. And we appreciate obviously all that you've done as a teacher, and also appreciate the time that you've spent on the insurance trust. So thank you very much for that. And you will definitely be missed. And Ed, you're coming from Clarksville High, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Now, all 32 years at Clarksville High?
Oh gosh, no. 20 years at Clarksville High, 5 years at Kenwood Northwest, 5 years in Memphis.
Oh, okay.
And I sort of also count, although the state doesn't, I count the year that I taught in grad school at Vanderbilt and the year that I subbed and taught at UT Knoxville. So
You
I started
definitely need
teaching
to,
32 years ago.
yeah, you need to keep track of those. Maybe that year as a sub counts is 5 years. But
I can vouch that he's good at what he does. I've never been in his class, but I have a son that looks forward to going to his class every time he has a chance. And he loves Ed Long as a teacher. And I'm very appreciative to that.
That's
Thank you, Mark.
very nice. Thank you, Mark, for adding that.
This is actually my second stint on the insurance trust. I don't remember when the first one was, but I was on for 2 or 3 years,
Were
several
you?
years ago. Yeah,
Okay. Mhm.
and 3 years this time.
Mhm. The first time, was I here when you were on the first time, or was it before I was here?
I don't remember. I want to say it was maybe 12 years ago or so.
Okay, then I was here. Yeah,
Yeah, I think you were.
yeah. I just hit my 20 year, which is a big celebration for me. So. So does anybody have any good new Netflix series they're watching that they want to share with the rest of the group?
Just remember that the video recording is on before you share.
It is. This is true. So it needs to be very appropriate. Any educational Netflix series anyone's watching?
Janina, I just heard back from John Smith. He's walking back to his office now and he should be able to join pretty quickly.
Okay, awesome. That's wonderful. Thank you.
If you like British history, then The Crown is very good.
I watched
Especially
that.
Prince
I was
Philip's
just-
recent passing, it would be good
Yes.
to watch.
I was just fixing to say I'm a little behind, but The Crown has been what I have kind of plugged into. I don't really watch much, but I like that. Also, I guess it would be American History, is called Turn. It's on Netflix. TURN.
Check that one out.
Michelle's getting ready to log on.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate everyone waiting. I hate for all of us to gather and not be able to have our meeting. I don't think it's been a long time since we haven't had a quorum, so but I know there's a lot of other meetings going on this afternoon. We have Jessica Hernandez that's joining us since Marcia is at the budget meeting, so she'll be able to go over the financial statements. So appreciate her joining us.
If you haven't seen the weather, just remember it's supposed to be 30 degrees in the morning.
I heard that. Crazy. Anybody have a kickball team for the big tournament this Saturday? Anybody on a kickball team? Tommy, are you on a team or are you gonna be an official?
Well, I'm not gonna be either, but I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, central office doesn't have a team this time, and we
Oh,
learned how rough it was to try to official. So we pay officials a little bit to do that.
that's right. Is the weather improving for Saturday?
It says 90% now, but I don't know what time of the day that will happen. So I have to wait a little bit closer.
Okay, we will go back to our roll call. I think someone else has joined us and that should give us our quorum. Michelle Lowe.
I am here.
Thank you. And Michelle, we'd like to welcome you. Michelle is the new County Human Resources Director. So we welcome you to this group as a member of the Employee Insurance Trust. And I did read a previous section, just reminding everyone that when and if we do have something we have to vote on, that we will want to make sure that we vote yes or no. And this is being recorded. So we will go ahead and start with the regular agenda. The first item is a review of the February 16th, 2021 minutes. And Donna would have prepared those and forwarded those to everyone.
It's Mark Banasak. I move to approve.
Okay, thank you. Do I
This
have,
is Tommy Butler second.
okay, thank you. Any questions, concerns regarding the minutes? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving the February 16th, 2021 minutes. I'll go ahead and do a roll call. Mark Banasek,
Yes.
Tommy Butler,
Yes.
Charlie Hall,
Yes. Yes.
Leslie Helmig,
Yes.
Donna Mahoney,
Yes.
Kelly Jackson, Kelly, there we go.
Yes.
Thank you. Has John joined us? Oh, he's right there. Look at that. Okay. Did Jeff join us?
I'm here.
Okay, we are voting on the approval of the February 16th, 2021 minutes.
Yes.
Thank you. I think John, are you on?
He's in the process of getting on. He couldn't find the link and I just sent,
Okay.
here, he's here.
Okay, so I do have Jeff Taylor, who has arrived, and John Smith. Is that correct? John, I couldn't hear your voice.
Yes, I'm here.
There, great, thank you. And we were voting on the February 16, 2021 minutes. Are you in favor?
Yes.
Ed Long,
Yes.
Michael Johnson,
Yes.
Kay Rye,
Yes.
and Michelle Lowe.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That has been approved. We will move on to old business. First item is on-site update. I'll let Tommy and Charla share with us any information they have.
Okay, so for the on-site update, the first quarter of 2021, we had almost 7,000 patient visits, 6,962. When comparing to Network S under Blue Cross, that would produce 586,000 in savings. And that does not include infusion, and that savings does take into account all costs, lab supplies, staffing, everything. During the first quarter, they had 1,535 telehealth visits. Current infusion or special med patients, they have 15. The estimate on those 15 patients for savings is 875,000 per year. I know we're going to be talking about it a little bit later, but we've been meeting and planning for the med special carve out, which the trust has talked about several times. Charlotte and her team's been working through those meds and those patients, and it's estimated that 170 patients, if we make that decision, will start getting their med specials at the clinic, and that'll produce 1.5 million per year in savings. If we do that, if we decide to do that, and Charlotte will talk more about this in a minute, but we will definitely, after identifying it would be that many patients and the amount of work that goes into these patients, we would need a new nurse position to manage that. And again, Charlotte will talk to you more about that in a second. The on-site expansion updates, satellite clinics. Of course, this would be funded through ESSER funds, and those funds are already approved. So we've started doing some of that planning. It will take some time, but it will improve the air quality somewhat in the little clinics, and privacy will be improved. Of course, cosmetic improvements, and any of you who've been there probably know that we've had them a long time and they need it. One of the things that we'll talk about in the future is potentially moving one of the portable clinics, possibly closing one of the clinics. So we're looking at a lot of different things with the satellite clinics and how they're used and all of that. And then the main clinic we'll bring back to the trust soon. The county and school systems met about it and discussed it several times. Where we're at right now is county and school system attorneys are working on, or going to begin to work on, an agreement that'll have a term that be the length of time that we can use the plaza location for the expansion. So when we have that part done, then we'll come back to the trust and hopefully move forward with that project. And that project will be funded through ESSER funds and also the Blue Cross Blue Shield funds. So it more than likely won't be a impact cost-wise for the insurance trust. So that's very good news. Vaccine update, 1,711 fully vaccinated from on-site. We had 293 at a Tenova event and 122 at a health department event. So that's 2,126. That includes county and school system that have been vaccinated through our program. We do have additional vaccine, and we'll consider obviously future clinics, as well as doing vaccine offerings at school pod locations once Johnson & Johnson vaccine is opened back up. I just want to take this time to say thanks to Charla and all the clinic staff for the incredible accomplishment of continuing clinic operations, adding infusion, planning expansion, implementing COVID testing program, coordinating and administrating COVID vaccine program. And so again, thank you. And so with all that, I'll turn it over to Charla.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Lots of applause. So
I'll be sure to pass that along. That's awesome. Thank you. Well, I thought sometimes visuals are better than others. And so one of my visuals is, it's okay if I share my screen if you're all right with that.
yeah, you should be able to. I've got it set up where anyone can.
Okay. Okay, and hopefully you can see this. Our dilemma right now is that we have a team lead nurse position. And originally when we asked for it, it was a halftime position. So halftime as team lead to assist me, and also halftime being on the floor. Well, of course, the dilemmas have occurred because we are doing so much at on-site. And really prior to COVID, we already had the dilemma. It's just been delayed a bit with what we've been working with. And currently, what we do is we put a PRN position in to work with the provider for this halftime position. So, sorry, for some reason I'm having a hard time with my slides. So technically, we have 5 providers. And as you can see, what happens is that we assign a nurse with each of those 5 providers each day. And so the dilemma that we have is one provider each day has a different nurse. And it's not a full-time nurse. And we basically have made it work. And that's what we always will continue to do. However, when you look at some of the things that our team lead does, basically she backs me in every way, but she also has now her own list of duties so that we can manage everything, here at the clinic. And one thing that's important to note is that we are open, of course, longer than a full-time position. So she does help me with that because we are open. Actually, our shifts start at 6:30 in the morning. They end at 6:30 at night. And we also are open on Saturdays. So I need her assistance to oversee the 68.5 hours a week that we're open. And we take turns doing call and that kind of thing, because there are always issues that happen at all times of the night. And that's just what we'll do. But due to those needs, since we have done the testing, the vaccines, our mental health therapist, now we have the ESSER funds so that we are hiring a second mental health therapist. We're looking at the renovation, the expansion, and then we're looking at about 170 patients, probably more in the future, because of course we want to do whatever we can to save money for our trust and yet provide good service for our patients. But I'm at the point where I made the request to make this position a permanent full-time position of team lead. And if we are allowed to do that, that would open it up so that we can hire someone permanently as a full-time nurse to take care of one of those providers. So that's all I've got so far.
So Charla, are you asking the trust for one additional PRN position or nurse? Explain to me exactly what the request is.
The request is for a full-time MA or LPN or RN position. So a full-time nurse position, because currently we're operating one short of it. And we do use PRNs to do that, but it would be helpful if we had a full-time person, because those duties aren't going to lessen in the future. If anything, her duties are going to increase in the future.
Okay.
With everything else that we're doing. We were also trying to find a position for the infusion, and I'm not sure if we need to wait on that until after we all talk about infusion or not, but that was another item that we were gonna talk about today.
Okay. So how about, does anyone, before we do any type of a vote, and we can wait and talk a little bit more about that medical carve out, so that provides the members with a little more information about the infusion, but does anybody have any questions for Charlotte about the presentation that she just provided? Okay, so again, thank you for all the extra work that the clinic has completed this year. We know they've done testing, they're doing vaccines, and not to mention infusions and just running a regular clinic, and also the conversion to telehealth. That's been significant. So, okay. So we will move on. ESSER 2.0 update, just as an FYI, 2.0 has been approved by the state. So as Tommy mentioned, we do have funds that have been put in there to pay for some renovations and updates for the clinic. And also we are adding, as Charlotte mentioned, one additional mental health provider. So we're excited about that. So again, those funds have been approved, and we're starting to work on spending that money. Okay, any questions on ESSER 2.0? All right. The next item we have is the appeal that is in front of the trust, and I'm going to let Chris go ahead and give us a reminder and a little bit of a summary on that. Chris, are you available?
I am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm going to summarize where we are with the appeal. And if you all would just reference the document, it's titled Contractual Appeal. I think it would lend itself to maybe the efficiency of getting through the discussion in a timely manner. But before we get started, just a friendly reminder about the federal privacy laws and protected health information. And if you've got that document, if you would just kind of scan that first paragraph where it says reminder. I think we're all aware of that, but it is a very sensitive area. And there's been a lot of discussion with this claim. So we'll move on, and we've had several discussions about this medical claim, and we realize one of the hardest, most difficult things for the trust members is to balance your compassion with the financial stewardship of the plan. If you would reference the middle of the page, and you'll see the contractual exclusion. This was taken from page 30 of the medical plan booklet, or the evidence of coverage. But if you'll take a look at that, you'll see the exclusion provisions. So it's our estimation, these are really the key issues. The member's physician is unwilling to take the time to verbally discuss the appeal with the Blue Cross physician pure staff review, the review staff. And also a contractual exception is the only way for these procedures to be covered. And as you all are aware, exceptions can result in a potential of issues. So we've outlined the key issues in some bullets right there toward the bottom of the page. And I think it might be easiest if everybody just takes a quick review of those issues. Again, these are foreseeable issues.
Chris, would you mind just summarizing those for the record?
Okay, sure will. Yeah. So bullet 1 is make an exception for this exclusion. It's a deviation from the state local education plan and most other insured and self-funded plans. Exceptions are not covered by the reinsurance contract. So all expenses are outside the protection of the reinsurance. Healthcare expenditures are exorbitant within the confines of the contractual provisions. And for this reason, and for risk mitigation, we don't recommend making any kind of exception to the plan and thereby increasing plan liability. If other members have paid for these types of excluded procedures and become aware of the exception, it could result in additional liability to the plan. The next bullet is if an exception is made for this cosmetic procedure, it sets a precedent for other cosmetic procedures. And then the last bullet is if a contractual exception is made in one area of the plan, it lends to exceptions in other areas. And as you all remember, we did discuss fertility treatment fairly recently. And again, the difficult part of this is really for these reasons, our advice in most instances is to refrain from making plan exceptions that deviate from the norms of the marketplace.
And Chris, I want to clarify again. So we had at the last meeting had asked our member to have their doctor do like a peer-to-peer appeal with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Is that correct? And the member's doctor refused to do that.
That's my understanding, correct?
Yes. Okay. So for the members, what we would have to do is amend our contract. And I do believe that the Pheasant Consulting Group has listed bullets there as to why they would not recommend that action, but that is a decision for the trust to make. So if we would have to have a motion to amend our contract in order to meet the request of this member.
Janine, does this item, if there is a lack of a motion or lack of a second, does it not move forward, or do we have to act on this either way?
I think that the fact, I mean, we could act on it either way. The thing that we definitely need a motion on is if we want to amend the contract. If we do not amend the contract, then in my opinion, no action is needed. And then Donna would explain that the trust did not change the contract. So the decision that Blue Cross Blue Shield made is upheld.
I am of the mindset that we follow the recommendation of the Fessenden Group and not make an exception. But if there is no action needed, then I will stop talking. But if we need a motion to do that, then I'm willing to do that.
I don't think we need a motion, in my opinion, if we're not going to be changing the contract.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have any other questions? I know this has been on the agenda several times. Okay, if not, we will move forward, and I know Donna will reach out to the employee tomorrow, the member. All right, thank you. Okay, the next one is the Radiology Alliance. I'm not sure how many of you have received the letters from Blue Cross Blue Shield, the letter from Radiology Alliance, and then also I think they may have even placed an ad in the newspaper. So I have got a little bit of an update from Todd Hodge, our account manager. And as he has explained, Radiology Alliance remains out of network. They are holding all claims. So Blue Cross Blue Shield is not denying the claims at this time. They are holding all of the claims. He did indicate this is a little unusual for them to stay out for this amount of time, but it does look like they are currently have ongoing negotiations. Everyone is just everything's basically being pended. He did say that he did see that there was a note that there was a large volume of inquiries, and they are going to be expanding Blue Cross's ability to answer any questions, and he's hoping to have some more guidance. So, they definitely are still negotiating, okay? But if you know of anyone that has gone recently, they're filing the claims and they're just holding on them. So is there any, Chris or Kim, is there anything else that you think needs to be added on that topic? Okay.
No, they're just playing poker.
Yeah. We all want them to, somebody needs to fold so we can have them in our alliance. Okay, so I just wanted to give you all an update on that. And then our next item is the medical carve out. We left this at the last meeting that we did ask the Residents Consulting and Epiphany to follow up with Blue Cross Blue Shield and make sure we could go through this transition. We did not do a motion because we first wanted to confirm that we could move forward with this. So I will let Chris go ahead and share some information and the status on where we are. And then that'll loop us back to some of the information that Tommy and Charlotte were providing in regards to the on-site increase in the type of work they'll be doing. So.
Okay, I'll make a few comments. There is a handout referencing medical RX or J-code carve-out update. I know that Tommy and Charlotte have been working very, very closely with Epiphany behind the scenes. Epiphany shooting for a 7/1 go live date. I know there was a little bit of concern at the last meeting if there were some types of medications that Epiphany would not be able to set up the administration for. We just want to make sure the member would not be stuck in the middle, and Blue Cross and Epiphany have worked that area out. So in other words, if there's a particular situation that Epiphany is not able to set up a site of care and a medication, that there would be an exception made and Blue Cross would continue to administer that particular claim. So it will be done on a case-by-case basis. There's been several meetings you can see there where it is an area that's evolving. And so there's not a lot of precedent set with Blue Cross. Blue Cross does have one other client that's working the same way with Epiphany that you all want to work. And so we're going to follow those guidelines. So really everything's on go. We don't have concerns at this point. Extremely excited. Had no idea that when Charlotte had mentioned that many opportunities at on-site. I mean, that's just huge. So we think it's moving in a great direction. And again, just applaud on-site for their extra effort.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So we would have to make a motion to finalize the carve out. Since now we have confirmation that Epiphany and Blue Cross Blue Shield will be able to administer this. So I would entertain a motion.
It's Mark Banisak. I make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh,
And I'm sorry, who did the second?
Second, Leslie.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. I didn't see you up there. Okay, so we have a motion to move forward with the medical RX carve out from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Epiphany with a effective date of July 1st of 2021. Do we have any questions from the members? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Okay. All right. Mark Banisak,
Yes.
Tommy Butler,
yes.
Charlie Hall,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Donna Mahoney,
Yes.
Jeff Taylor,
Yes.
Kelly Jackson,
Yes.
John Smith,
Yes.
Ed Long,
Yes.
Michael Johnson,
Yes.
Kay Rye,
Yes.
Michelle Lowe,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay, thank you. All right, so now that we've discussed that in more detail, and we have approved it, I think you did hear the number of patients that we would be adding to the infusion center at onsite in Charlotte. Am I right? That was approximately 170?
Correct. When we met, we actually have a list of over 300 patients that would be affected. And so we looked at all of the list of the medicines to see which ones we can handle in-house. It looks like it's about 170, but we also are making a list so that we can have more of those patients with further training. So that'll happen as well. And we hope to add more. And so, of course, we need help with this one. We want to make sure we get this right and they receive wonderful treatment. And so that's why we're asking for additional coordinator to do all of the behind the scenes items, plus assist in actually giving the infusions as well. So we are asking for assistance for that as well.
And Tommy, could you remind us again of the projected savings of these 170 members having their infusions done at onsite versus done at the hospitals or doctor's office?
Yeah, the estimated savings by us doing the administration and the savings on the cost of the drugs is 1.5 million per year for those 170 patients.
So I believe my understanding is that in order to move forward with this, we will need to have one additional full-time permanent nurse at the onsite, correct?
Yeah, and it will be a full-time position plus because of all of the work that it takes to get the medications from a specialty pharmacy, making sure that the doctors on the pre-auths and all that, even with the 15 they have now, is a major job. But to add 170, which I was surprised by that today, the clinics put a lot of work into figuring out what they can do. I was very surprised to learn that today.
Okay, so I'm hearing a request for one with potential of needing additional, but that may be something that we give it a couple months and see where we're at in a few months.
Yes.
Okay. So we,
this is Mark Banasak.
yes, Mark.
Question. Has there been a total of 2 requests today, one to oversee the infusion and one just to have a floor nurse? So far we've talked about 2 positions that we'll potentially be voting on today.
Is that correct, Charla?
Correct, yes, because the team lead is already in effect, but it was originally half-time that she was supposed to be on the floor. Well, she's never on the floor due to all the things that we do. And then for the lab, or excuse me, the infusion, we're just asking for one right now. It's burdensome for 15 patients, but 170 patients is astounding. And we'll see and give it some time. And then if it's going successfully, we probably will be back asking for more help, but we're going to try to do our best with just one person.
So Charla, the original position we've basically been doing with the PRN.
Correct.
We probably, the trust wouldn't see a huge increase in cost, but this person would have benefits and they would be full-time versus PRN. Okay.
Exactly. We rotate through PRNs because they, none of them can work the 40 hours a week that the provider is working. So we just rotate through people. We just cover it for right now. So we are asking for full-time for some type of continuity, especially with so many services now. It seems like on-site's different. And so we're asking for assistance with that.
So at this time, you're asking for 2 additional positions.
Correct.
Janine, this is Kelly. I make a motion
Yes.
to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second, Jeff Taylor.
Okay, Jeff Taylor, second. Any other questions? Comments regarding the 2 additional positions? If not, we'll go ahead and do Mark Banasak,
Yes.
Tommy Butler,
Yes.
Charlie Hall,
Yes.
Leslie Helmig,
Yes.
Donna Mahoney,
Yes.
Jeffrey Taylor,
Yes.
Kelly Jackson,
Yes.
John Smith,
Yes.
Ed Long,
Yes.
Michael Johnson,
Yes.
Kay Rye,
Yes.
Michelle Lowe,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay, that passes. All right. So we will move on Next item is financial statement, and Jessica Hernandez, our finance director, will be able to go over that in place of Marcia.
Hello.
There she is. Okay.
So you should have received a February financial statement and a March financial statement. And I'm just going to kind of go over the highlights of the latest one for March. And if there's any questions, I guess just let me know. I wasn't really quite prepared to present this for today. So if there's questions, I may have to come back to. So on your first page is for your March financials. You have a total assets of $27,764,786.43, with your liabilities of $4,928.38. I'm sorry, $38.63, with fund balance of $22,836,747.80. And I'll kind of explain a little bit more about fund balance in a minute and where we're kind of at with that. Your next page just shows your breakdown between our books with the county trustee. And we had a beginning balance of the 26.8 million roughly. And we had an ending cash balance in March of 27.7 million. The next page, actually, I think we get this from Donna, where it has the breakdown of participation between the different departments participating in the trust, and there's not a whole lot of difference. I was looking mainly year-over-year comparison when I talk about the financials in the future. So year-over-year comparison, there was roughly a little over 30 people different additional this year than we were last March. So if you want to go to page 4. So our total revenue for the medical portion of this in total as of March is the $50,666,565.45. And when you look at that breakdown, when I compare basically our revenue changes to last March at this time, we have an increase of $2.6 million. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that we increased the premiums. We had actually a decrease when you compare where we were at with our prescription rebates. We're at 1.9 million, and we are about $1 million down from where we were last year, but we had some Blue Cross Blue Shield rebates that we were still getting at that point in time. So our overall revenue has increased from last March about 1.7 million from year-over-year comparison. Then for our medical claims, I'm sorry, the total expenses for medical was $45,775,619.18. Man, it is really hard to read these tiny numbers on this paper. The medical claims total was around, of that portion, 32.3 million, which is a decrease of 3.5 million from March last year. When you look at that year-over-year comparison, the prescription claim total was 10.56 million, which is a slight increase, about 11,000 increase from this time last year. Our administrative fees total about 2.15 million, which is about the same from last year. And our prescription administrative fees this time is 654,000 roughly. And last year, our March financial showed 294,000. And it's pretty close to the same expenses for the True Life Care. So when you look at the net increase, net loss, we are at a $4.2 million increase. So this time last year, we actually had a little bit of a loss. So we've had, a pretty significant increase of 4.8 million overall for that portion. And on the on-site medical, just highlights there, the revenue is $46,231.60. And that's just a slight decrease from last year. Our expenses for on-site is the 1.3 million, which is roughly the same from last year. And then, so the reinsurance is 400 overall, your net increase is the 471,000, which is higher than it was last year. So that's good. And then our, just the other category is about the same. So our net overall increase showing for March is 3.3 million. And that is actually an increase from last year, or yeah, last year at this time of 4.9 million, since it had kind of shown a loss at this point in time last year. And so our fund balance is the $27,767,191.43. And we have a reserve for the claims payable of the 4.9 million. So we currently have an undesignated fund balance of the $22,839,613.43, which is 5.9 million increase year-over-year comparison. And so I'm going to try to share my screen. I don't know if this is going to work because I'm on my phone. So we're going to try. It may not work. Let's see. Okay, it does not. Okay, here we go. I think it's going to work. Do you see my screen? No.
No, we're seeing your phone screen, but not.
Do you see?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yep, now we do.
Okay. I apologize again. I wasn't really quite prepared to present, and so I didn't get this sent to Dawn enough time to email this out to you. I'm not sure if this is how you guys normally look at it or not, but a chart is always wonderful in my opinion. So basically the top chart is your undesignated fund balance, where we had spoke about it was 22.8 million. Last year at this time, it was 16.9 million. And so you can kind of see the trends that are happening with that. So we have a very good, healthy fund balance. When you look at the expenses, again, I'm just speaking of the medical, the on-site, and the reinsurance expenses. We are at, for March, we had a $5.1 million in expenses. So if you compare that to March last year, that's about $1 million less, just comparing month to month. Of course, we could have timing issues and things like that. Then our revenue chart. For March, we had 6.2 million in revenue, and last year we had about that this point in time last year. So when you look at our, let me go back to fund balance. So when you look at our expenses, and I took basically a rolling average of a 12-month rolling average, and said, well, what is our 12-month rolling average in expenses? It's about $5.1 million. And so divided that fund balance divided by the expenses is basically we have about as of March, we have 4.4 months worth of reserves. But if you kind of looked at, well, what's my average we've had, and as far as like how many months reserve have we had average over the last, over this fiscal year, it's about 3.3 months worth. So we have a very healthy fund balance at this point. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
There are no other questions, and I think that we can all feel good about that fund balance. As Jessica said, it looks good. I'm always happy when it's over 20 million. So it's definitely a good fund balance. And I know so many of us are so happy to be able to share with our employees that there will not be a premium increase for next year. So that's exciting news. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to accept the financial statements as presented by Jessica Hernandez.
Jeff Taylor.
Okay, we have a first by Jeff. Do I have a second?
Michelle, second.
Thank you. All right, and we will go ahead and vote. Mark Banasek,
Yes.
Tommy Butler,
Yes.
Charlie Hall,
Yes.
Leslie Helmig,
Yes.
Donna Mahoney,
Yes.
Jeffrey Taylor,
Yes.
Kelly Jackson,
Yes.
John Smith,
Yes.
Ed Long, Ed, I did not hear you.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Michael Johnson,
Yes.
Kay Rye,
Yes.
Michelle Lowe,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay, thank you. All right, next item is experience report. Chris?
Okay, Jessica, you made my life easy. If you'll refer to the exhibit that is titled Medical Plan Experience Report. Of course, this is just a snapshot. The format is consistent with previous exhibits. You can see at the top, you've got the number of employees that are participating. Section A is your total budgeted cost or your assets. And so under Section A, if you go out to the third column, you have a total for the month of March of $5,448,000. If you go to the bottom of that column, you'll see a total of $4,921,000. Therefore, your loss ratios at 90%. In other words, assets exceed liabilities. And then if you go out to the sixth column, you'll see the year-to-date, and the year-to-date loss ratio is at 91%. So the plan is in very good standing. And that's really all I have, unless anybody else needs any more detail.
Any other questions for Chris? Okay, if not, we'll move on to do you have one for the dental also?
Do have one for the dental. It's the school system only, same format as in the past. You can see in March, people did go to the dentist. The loss ratio is at 105%, but year-to-date's at 89%. So the plan is in good standing.
Okay. I think everybody's making up for their missed visits while the dental offices were closed. So thank you. Any questions on the dental experience report? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the next item. Blue Cross Blue Shield settlement. I'm not sure how many of you received this little blue postcard in the mail yesterday or today. I just wanted to share with you, we have received information for the plan, and I know Chris is looking into that. Carol is aware of it, but then individuals may have received this card only. So basically, it appears that this is something that Blue Cross Blue Shield was obviously mandated to do. And it's basically that, let's see, it's a plaintiff's claim that the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association in settling individual blue plans, collectively settling defendants, violated antitrust laws by entering into an agreement not to compete with each other and to limit competition among themselves in selling health insurance and administrative services for health insurance. Settling defendants deny all claims. The settling defendants have asserted that their conduct results in lower healthcare costs and greater access to care for their customers. The court has not yet decided who is right. But this does give you an option if you wish to go ahead and file. So there's a website there. If you do have any employees that ask you about it, I would suggest that you tell them to read this, and then it's a personal decision if they wish to go online and complete whatever information. I have not done this yet, but they are, this is indicating that they may have a settlement that they have the rights to. Carol, are you still on? I don't know if Carol is still, I know she had joined us originally. I don't know if there's anything else.
Yes, I'm still here.
Carol, is there anything else that you think I should share? Again, we'll look at whether or not we as the plan are eligible, but individuals by all means are eligible to at least submit this, correct?
Yes, to my knowledge, I haven't really looked at it from the individual perspective. I've really just been trying to focus on the what the trust would be able to do.
Right.
And we should have more information on that later.
Yeah, so again, if you do get any questions from anyone, any of your coworkers, you can let them know that the trust is aware. And if they did get one of those cards, of course, they have that option to go ahead and submit a claim. All right. Any questions?
Janine,
Yes.
Can I say one thing real quick, just for the
Mhm.
the edification of the trust? The first thing I want to say, of course, is I don't have any legal training, so please accept my comments accordingly. But basically what this is, as you all probably are aware, the Blue Cross Blue plans are state domiciled. So there's a Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kentucky, et cetera. Whereas when you get into the Aetnas and the Cignas and the Humanas, they're national PPO plans, and so they cross state lines. And so what's happened here is, for instance, for you, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, they always bid on the Clarksville Trust's plans. And they have an association to pull all those blue plans together. And the association said, hey, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kentucky, you can't bid on the plan since the group's located in Tennessee. And so that's where they get into this antitrust. You're competing, you won't compete with each other and so forth. It's a non-compete. So it's maybe not quite as ominous as it seems, but nonetheless, it's part of the law aspect of it. And of course, I can't speak to that, but basically, the other commercial carriers don't have to compete with each other across state lines. Blue Cross has to set this association up. So for instance, if you're traveling to Florida on vacation, you can use the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida network. So you aren't stuck with an out-of-network provider. So those are some of the ramifications that are in play here. And I think that you'll find that there'll be a lot more information available since they have mailed these notifications. So hope that helped just a little bit.
Yes, that does. Thank you, Chris. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, we will move on. Also, the next item is a new ID card vendor. Blue Cross, our account manager, shared with us that there is going to be a new ID card vendor effective April 15th. And the new cards will not be the hard plastic, but they will be more of a heavier stock paper, which I know was a little disappointing to me, but again, there will be a different type of card. So I don't know that they're going to change all the cards out automatically, but anybody who has any changes will get a new card. And again, it's going to be a heavier card stock, not necessarily that thick plastic credit card type. So just wanted to share that information in case you get any questions on that. Okay, next one is monthly claims payment history and large claim. I'm just going to pull this up real quick from the attachments that Donna provided us. You'll see the claim history. Again, just, we always like to look at where were we a year ago. And I think based on the information that Jessica provided, that some of our times we have been, our claims have been less than where we were previously. But so if you want to look at that and if you have any questions, let us know. And then the next item is the large bill notification. We do have a large bill notification that Blue Cross has submitted. The total charges were $127,500, and we will be paying $126,709. So just for awareness of that. I think that's the end of our agenda, and our next item is to set a meeting, our next meeting. Trying to determine if there's anything that we need to follow up on in the summer. I think it would, I'm trying to think, Tommy, Charlotte, is there anything for the on-site that we need to have discussion on during the summer as we move along with renovations?
I don't think so. I'm thinking in my mind, the only thing that might pop up is if we do get a huge increase of people when it comes to the infusion, we might have a need there, but I can just let you know as we experience it. I think it's got a July 1 start, so we know it's probably going to start there and ramp up.
So how does everyone feel about potentially trying to have a meeting in July during, and I know folks are off calendar, would you prefer to do something towards the end of July before school starts, or would you rather just wait until August after school has started for those of you that will be off calendar? Do I hear any preferences?
This is Mark. I'd rather wait to August. if we
Okay.
can, but that's just me speaking.
We can always call if for whatever reason we have to have a meeting, we can always, contact everyone. I would guess by then our meetings will be back in person unless there's some changes. I think I've heard that there may be some changes on the options of continuing to do electronic meetings, but we can all discuss, which format we want to have in the future. So when does school start? When is, that is not something I keep track of. Do we know? I have teachers coming back on August 5th, students on August 9th. If we want to stick with our Tuesdays, we could go with August 10th. Or we could go with August 17th. August 10th is the second Tuesday, the 17th is the third Tuesday. Any preferences?
I believe August 10th is a staff development day for teachers, I believe. That's that
Okay.
in-between day.
Yes, so maybe the 17th would be better.
And again, I wouldn't be able to do the 17th. I've got the AAA, the administrator meeting that I've got to be at.
Okay.
I'm going to be at the same meeting with Michael, so I cannot make the 17th.
Okay, would the 10th, do you think PD would your PD not last until 4:15 ideally, would it?
No, I think that's a normal school day for teachers
Okay,
in terms of times.
okay. How about August 10th? We'll plan for the 10th then, and then if we do need to have a special called meeting, Donna will let everybody know. We will hope that everything is moving along. Anybody else have any questions? So we'll plan on August 10th at 4:15. Most likely that will be in person unless something changes. And we'll go back to the lecture hall. Will have been over almost a year and a half since we've met in person. So that would be an enjoyable thing to have an in-person meeting. Okay, well, again, thank you, everyone. Again, thanks, Ed, for all of your contributions. We appreciate having you on the team and appreciate all your work as a teacher. And I hope you have a wonderful retirement. I know you will. I'm guessing you're probably not really retiring, but no, you'll stay busy. And I hope for those of you that go off calendar here in a few weeks, you have a great summer. And we'll see everyone in August unless we need to have a meeting called earlier. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate all your work. Great evening. Bye-bye.